How do you make the invisible visible? I just got off a call preparing for the Rich Love Litvin Public Intensive with the leadership team. And one of my insights from that was that question, just making the invisible visible. Turns out it's a skill that I have. And it's something that I'm really questioning as to how we can do this and bring it out into the world more. Let me make this a little more concrete for you. Making the invisible visible. What is it and why is it important? The way I look at it here is the invisible. I'll look at it from a couple of different perspectives. The first one here is around on a personal level. Right? If I look at what I do as a coach, one of my jobs is really to help someone take the things about themselves that they don't know, the blind spots that they have about what's holding them back, the possibilities that are available for them in the future, and what it is that they truly want, and the path to get there. That all exists, but it's invisible to that person. And it's my job in that role as the leader of that person and standing for that person to help make that visible for them. What really struck me about that insight today was that it was in the container of connection. And within connection, what I believe that there is a path of we can be connected with each other if we really connect around the external things that are around us, what our jobs are, what the weather is like, where we've recently gone on vacation, what so on and so forth. But what really brings us together is an element of us being able to connect emotionally, connect beneath the surface, connect with what's happening within us. And so from that part, whatever's happening inside of us, that's clearly invisible. So there's an element of being able to really make deep, meaningful relationships and just having meaningful connections with people that come from your ability to really make the invisible, what's happening inside of you, visible. I take that a step further than when I think about leadership and the role of being a movement leader and just being a leader or a creator in anything, a visionary. It's in that word visionary. We have the vision, it's inside of us. How do we help bring it to life? How do we help make it visible? How do we help make it visible through our words and inspiration? How do we help make it visible through our plans? And how do we help make it visible for those that are going to support us to bring it all to life, so that it can be actually visible and touch it when it does, right? So those three, I really love distinctions that will hit on multiple levels, because to me that says that there's something meaningful, there's something true about it, there's a principle about it that allows me to see the world differently. And I'm going to ask you again, how do you go and make the invisible visible? I'm finding this to be even more important now as I focus my time on outliers, pioneers, and mavericks. Each of them do things, they live outside of the status quo. They have something that is beyond what the majority of people are doing. And I was thinking about this here, I found that making the invisible visible provides its own unique challenge for each of those groups. For the outlier, the person who feels like they're one of the only, that they're amongst the majority in terms of being physically there, but inside they feel something different. Well, this comes a lot. The challenge that comes up here is in revealing what's happening on the inside. Might that then eject you from the group that you're in, the community that you're in? If you really knew what I was thinking, if you really knew my background, if you really knew me here, would you still accept me? Because as an outlier, it can feel that we're just barely holding on to the space that we've been able to claim within the majority of others, within the status quo. As a pioneer, this shows up for me in the sense of I'm going somewhere first. People haven't seen it yet. I haven't necessarily seen it yet. I've seen glimpses of it. Okay? So how do I go ahead and make something that hasn't been created, something that people haven't seen, and now I'm going there for the first time myself? How do I make that thing that I know to be true visible? Because it's invisible to me still. It's my vision still. And as a maverick, this one I actually had to spend some time with, and I'd be really interested for any mavericks. And there's a boat cleaning the river behind me. But for any mavericks out there, or anyone who identifies as being a maverick, with the idea of being one of a kind or different, I'd be curious for you what the challenges of showing, making the invisible visible when it comes to you. But as a maverick, I feel like I'm experiencing this in my business, because I'm choosing to. I do coaching, but I do it differently, and I struggle with helping people understand what it is that I do, and helping them get a sense of what is this invisible thing that is coaching, and what is it in the way that Nemo does it. Especially when he's talking to outliers, pioneers, and mavericks about showing up in the world and being all of you and living in integrity and leading from a place of that. All of that invisible until it becomes visible. So I'll share with you some of the ways that I'm approaching it and how I make the invisible visible. But really, the real goal here is for you to think about it and apply it for yourself. Share with us some of the things that are working with you so that we have some additional tools to use in our toolkit. One of the ways that I go about making the invisible visible is this. And this is a thought that is developing for me in real time. And rather than going into like isolation and trying to hash it out and make it into something that's really pretty for you all, I'm taking you through my process of thought leadership. This is what it looks like. This is the process, and it's not always clear. I had 2 out of the 3 outliers and pioneers. I could understand what it looked like for them, but I was struggling a bit with the maverick one. It was actually right before I hit record here that one came to mind. You'll also notice that even just in this last sentence here, I'm making the invisible visible, because I'm telling you what's happening inside of my mind. I'm telling you what I'm feeling inside of my body, and some of the reservations and hesitations that I have, some of the struggles and some of the costs that it takes to be able to show up in the way that I do, and to be able to go on the journey of being all of who I am and using that to make my highest impact in the world. Those are 2 different ways that I make the invisible visible. One, I show up and I share where I develop in the light. There it is. And then 2, I share what's happening inside my head. One of the things that I'm really excited about is that we're launching a new series. We're launching a few new series. That's the thing. There's a lot of new coming up right now as I've stepped into higher and higher levels of visibility for myself. And one of them is around coaching various outliers, pioneers, and mavericks. And the reason that I'm coaching them, and we're recording this and sharing this with the community. You have to be a part of the community in order to see it, but it's something that's really magical. And the reason I'm choosing this route is because it allows us to see what's happening on the inside for a number of different individuals who are creating something magical in the world. My mentor and coach, Rich Liffin, often says, we compare how we feel on the inside with how they look on the outside. And now I want to give us a chance to make apples to apples, because in the grand scheme of things, when we really come down to it, that's how we are all connected. That our emotions, the things that we feel, is what brings us together as humans. It's what unites us. So how do you make the invisible visible? And along those lines, what's one part about you that you would be able to make visible for someone today? It could happen in one conversation, to slow down and share what you're really thinking, or to share your thought process, or to give people a chance to really connect with you on an emotional level. Or it could be so many other ways, and I'm looking forward to seeing the ways that you go about making the invisible visible. I'm Nemo Ashong, leader of Outliers, Pioneers, and Mavericks worldwide. I'm also the leader of the World Joy Movement. It's an absolute pleasure to be here with you. I'm very curious as to your thoughts. Here's to being more you each and every day, because you are a gift to your world. Game on. Now I'm trying to find the finish button.